Hello and happy February. I'm Karen Crawford, going over the astrology highlights for February 2025 with the Wholeness Network. I appreciate them having me on. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we will dive in. So, um, when we are looking at the astrology head for February, we see that Jupiter will be going direct in Gemini, which is nice. If you have Jupiter ruling your sun, moon, or rising sign, you might kind of feel like the wind is coming back into your sails again and feeling that you can kind of take on the world. We will also see Neptune touching the node. And so the true node, we also have a mean node. And so the true node will be February 7th, and then the mean node will be later in the month, February 23rd. We'll talk about that a little bit more coming up. And we're going to have a full moon on February 12th. And we're going to look at this chart. And so in this chart, we can see that the sun at 24 degrees Aquarius will be exactly opposite the moon. And that's what a full moon is when the sun and the moon are in perfect opposition. And that's going to happen at 8:53 Eastern Standard Time. And what's interesting about this chart is when we talk about the sun being in Aquarius and the moon being in Leo, this is an interesting opposition because Aquarius energy is typically seen as kind of doing their own thing, being a nonconformist, knowing that they're different from everybody else. And then the question is, do they honor who they are internally and allow themselves to be different, or do they become more of a chameleon and kind of blend in? Leo energy is more about taking that evolutionary step to be vulnerable, because when we create something that's inside of us that's very unique and creative, we risk rejection. So basically, this is a creativity and really allowing yourself to be vibrant and energetic. And Leo is basically ruled by the sun, so it's being very having a lot of vitality. And then we also have Aquarius. This is ruled by Saturn from the traditional astrology. It's going to be a little bit more restrictive. So it's how do we balance these two energies? And during this full moon, we also have the planet Uranus here at 23 degrees in Taurus. So Taurus, Leo, and then we have Aquarius and Scorpio. Those are all fixed signs. So there's a lot of fixed energy for this full moon in February. So full moons often can bring things to light. They're revealing. And the fixed energy, might make us kind of stick our feet into the earth. But Uranus there could bring a surprise. There might be something that's illuminated we weren't expecting. Could be something that is kind of hitting us from out of the blue in a sense. And I want to talk about Neptune with a node now. So when we look at the nodes, I studied evolutionary astrology with Stephen Forrest, and he talks about the four phases of unresolved karma. So one of the ways we could have unresolved karma is that you got something wrong in a previous life. So there's some sort of consequence for the action that you had taken. The second thing is you got something right, but maybe it damaged you in some way. So an example would be, if you were living in a home where there was abuse going on and you had to do something to defend yourself and that person ended up dying or something like that. You did the right thing, but perhaps, that has like a significant weight on your soul. The third thing would be tragedy might just happen. Nobody was really at fault for it, but it left some sort of mark on you. And then the fourth thing is sometimes people forget their spirits inside of a human body and they do really awful things to each other. So that also could leave a mark. So the South Node is kind of looking at an emotional habit, something that we're kind of bringing from the past into this life is like the evolutionary idea. And we're looking at unresolved wounds or angers or things that might be limiting to us. So when we look at the South Node in Virgo, what we're looking at is having perfection as this harsh and exacting standard where you're just judging everything. And so that when we really judge things, we can be left with a feeling of like shame or I'm never going to be good enough, maybe a lot of guilt. Um, and so sometimes too, if we want to serve people and help them, we can actually step too far into the servitude and almost just like be stuck, always helping and never really having your own life of joy and freedom, things like that. So having a lot of self-doubt, second guessing yourself, maybe even being in a little bit of victim mode is what the South Node of Virgo is. Because the beautiful traits of Virgo are editing things in beautiful ways, seeing the different ways that we can bring things together for excellence and making things beautiful and incredible. And when we're looking at the North Node is in Pisces now, and it'll be like this for about 18 months. And Neptune conjunct Pisces. So Neptune is what we consider a modern association with Pisces. So it's interesting that it's kind of there giving us like this extra evolutionary go get it kind of feel. So with the North Node in Pisces, we can kind of release that perfectionism and connect more into manifestation. It's about trusting the universe. It can also be a feeling of connecting into meditation, knowing that the more we embrace um, our connection to the divine, it helps us bring more light and love into the world. And Pisces has this overlying compassion feel where you can hit this higher level of love. And so learning how to transcend the ego and laughing at yourself could be things we can work towards with the North Node in Pisces. So as a collective, we're giving ourselves grace from trying to control everything and make everything perfect and stepping more into how do I connect with the love and the light that's inside of me. And having Neptune right next to the node, I think gives us this evolutionary opportunity to maybe take some extra time to meditate, maybe take some extra time to see how things are blossoming in our life. And if it's not hitting those high notes of connectivity and love, we can always reassess those things. And then going back, we're going to see that the sun is entering Pisces starting February 18th. So yay, all the Pisces, it's your turn now. And I think it's just nice that that full moon starts off kind of celebrating Pisces in that way. Then we have Mars going direct in Cancer, which will be nice for people who have Mars ruling their sun, moon, or rising. They'll kind of feel like they're kind of connecting in. Maybe you've had some time to revisit your goals, kind of feel like you're ready to take on the world again as Mars moves through Cancer and enters Leo. Definitely more momentum, and having that fire sign is always a good thing for Mars because he's hot and dry and fiery. And then we have the full moon, February 27th. And this is a chart for the full moon. New moon. And when we have a new moon, we want to set intentions. So the sun and the moon are so close together. You don't see anything. There's no way for the moon to reflect the light because it's in between the sun and the earth. So it's a dark sky. And so this is when we want to go ahead and set intentions for time coming up. And I think what's really interesting is, we have the sun and the moon at 9 degrees Pisces, then we have Saturn, then we have Mercury, and the nodes are going to be moving opposite because that's what the nodes do. And then we have Neptune. So we have a lot of planets in Pisces with this new moon. So again, I feel like, we're still at the beginning of the year. This is a great time to really go within and set intentions. And if you have any planets in the mutable signs, so that would be, Gemini, Virgo, um, Sagittarius, and Pisces. If you have your sun, your moon, your rising, or other planets that are important, or you're around 9 degrees, that's going to have more impact for you, I think. So, but any new moon, we can always set intentions to kind of help us grow. And so, Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. It's kind of letting things go. It's that surrender feel. So maybe there's something that you want to look at as far as what do I need to surrender? What do I need to uh, give to the universe to help me connect with? And we have Jupiter in a square aspect. So the sun and the moon are both squaring Jupiter and Gemini. And so Jupiter is kind of like this abundance, it's kind of like these opportunities. And so maybe seeing if there's something coming up for you about, do I have an opportunity to say something or to think something in a different way? Or, maybe it's a curiosity that you still want to connect in with. Maybe you want to read more books or you want to study something really interesting. So see what that feels like for you. And this is the end of our uh, discussion for February. And I hope that you have an amazing month and may you enjoy the new growth that will be coming as the light gets longer and longer in our universe in the northern hemisphere. Okay. All right. So have a fabulous day and all the best to you.